On a cold, windy night, January 6, 1928, Clifton Thomas Chalk was born in Windfall, North Carolina. His parents, Elmer and Annie Chalk. The second of 6 children, Clifton's start in life was not unlike that of many other farm families of the day. Life was simple, even crude by today's standards. And although the Chalk family moved often, there was one ingredient that ensured the children would get the attention, the necessities, and a chance for a better life. That was the love, the overwhelming love of their mother and the family.
Say a good man is hard to find. You always get, you know, the other kind. Just when you think that he's your pal.
My mother named him, I don't know why. Her daddy was named Thomas. His name's Clifton Thomas. And my mother wanted to name him, so she named him. On Christmas, Clifton must have been, well, he must have been 6 years old, because they were going to school, and that was the first money that they had ever had in their lives. And Elmer gave him a dime apiece, him and Clyde and Clifton. They were all big enough to go to Hertford to shop, you know. And of course, they were just carried away with that dime, much as you would $100 right this minute. They appreciated that a lot. And Lloyd and Clyde bought little cars, but Clifton bought me a present and brought home. And it hurt me so bad, I just cried. I thought a child that would, you know, think that much, you know. He's always had that giving more than taking all of his life. He's got it today.
Man, he used to take the young'uns in the boat, come to the river, and we'd meet them at the river. And we'd take the children on our piggyback. Clifton one day, he was tired, and he cried and said he wanted somebody to take him. I said, "What's the matter, Clifton?" He said, "I'm too heavy to walk." And going down that river in the wintertime, it got real cold. We'd take him up to the house, and one day we put him up close to the heater. And if you get too close to the heater when you're cold, you start to burn it. And Clifton said, "I'm a burn," and I'm a burn. And somebody said, "Well, move then." He wouldn't move because he was burning.
We went to my daddy's house, and he backed up. He was standing at the bar, and he started crying. And we asked him what was the matter, and he said, I'm burning, and he wouldn't back. And so we had to get him back. He wouldn't back. He would just stood there and burn until somebody got him back from the fire. Of course, they've always teased him about that.
I can remember him standing before the heater and saying, I'm burning, and wouldn't move. And Elmer turned around and said, well, why don't you move if you're burning? But he was just saying, I'm burning, but he won't move him nowhere.
He's a good boy, as far as I know. The only thing is, I don't know how to get out of the bar.
When's the first time you remember seeing Clifton?
First time I remember seeing him, he was about that long. Yeah, I called him a little teeny tiny baby.
I remember when he was little, he used to call me Cake because I kept cake cooked for him all the time. And he and Clyde, I kept them. And to fill my well up with sticks and old shoes out in the trash pile. And Elmer wanted to whip them, I wouldn't let him do it. I would never let Elmer, my dad, and Annie, I didn't want to hit that young. That's why all my grandchildren are spoiled.
You ain't got a couple of dollars you can let me have and tell them I said get back to you, hey.
Yeah, I do. Do that.
me one thing, Clifton Chalk has been a good boy to me. I know he'll go to heaven first. I love him. I love all his young'uns. I wish he'd come to see me more, he and Esther, but they won't. We'll bawl him out when I see him. That's why I'll get ready for it. They know I'm headed for it. I'm getting old now. I'll soon be in the grave. Just a short time and I'll be gone.
Lloyd hates work worse than the rest of them. He don't like to work. I was the one who broke Clifton and Lloyd in how to work on the farm. They liked work with the hose, but they didn't like to plow mules. At that time, you see, there weren't no tractors. What you done in the field where you plowed, you had to do it with mules and horses.
Growing up in eastern North Carolina's farm country, Clifton and his brothers had to work hard for a living. But when the boys had the opportunity, they devised games to while away the hours when not in school or working. Lloyd remembers one particular game where the argument wasn't over who won or lost, but who was going to play whom.
Now, what we had our worst fight that we ever had over was the war, the First World War in Germany. Of course, neither one of us were born at the time, but as we were growing up, we lived in the country, and we would play war. And we had a barn loft that we played in a lot during the wintertime, and we'd go out there and take Sears Roebuck catalogs and take the pages out of them and make ships. He'd make his Navy, and I would make my Navy. And we got to fight over who was going to be the USA and who was going to be Kaiser Bill.
He was good with geese, a good man with geese, yeah. Used to be a goose there that used to beat me all the time, grab me up in the back of the neck. He used to take him by his neck and swing him. You know, big long geese, he was going, he'd grab him by his neck and swing him, used to swing that goose around.
But me and Clifton would grab that sucker, and we'd swing him around and throw him and throw him and throw him. And I went out in the yard one day in the summertime and stepped on a board that had a nail in it and stuck that nail up through my foot, and that gander saw me, and he jumped on me, and I couldn't overcome him. I was hurting, and he got me down and beat me down on the ground with his elbows. They have elbows in their wings. He beat me in the knees with that nail in my foot, and I couldn't do nothing about it. All those times I'd thrown him around, he got even, but I don't think Clifton was involved in that, as I recall.
I remember one time we built some boards to beat Lloyd because Daddy had carried into town and wouldn't let us go, so we took some boards and put nails at him. We were going to kill him. I don't think we ever got to actually hit him or anything.
Then there was the night Elmer, their father, scared the boys so bad that 3 of them, or was it 2 of them, whatever, ran home, went through the fence, or was it over the fence, and Clifton ran into a mule, or was it a horse? Well, at least some folks remember it this way.
We were walking along the road, and Clifton said, "I think I hear something in the woods over there in the field to the left." And He said, it's a wildcat. And we jumped the run. There was a Model T Ford, a car going along the roads, old dirt roads, and bumpy, and it was rocking back and forth. And we passed it. We were past the Model A, and we were going to the fence. And we were running side by side, but he was a bit bigger than I was. And I knew I couldn't jump the fence. So I was running, and I remembered a little hole in the bottom of the fence. So in my mind, I said, well, I'm going to aim for that hole. I went for the hole and missed it. Clifton jumped the fence. It was the gate. He jumped the top of the gate. I don't know. I didn't see his hand knock it. I was busy. But I missed the hole, and I fell back down in the thing. I got a second shot. I went through the hole. We went through an open country yard there. He hit the mule in the side. Kate and Mary. Had two mules, Kate and Mary. And the mules jumped the fence. I think Dad was 2 days getting them back. Scared them so bad.
It was me and Clyde and Clifton. It was on Halloween night. We had been down to the store, and we lived at the Red House in Bethel, North Carolina. And we got to talking about ghosts. And our daddy, we stayed gone so long, he came looking for us. And he heard us coming home down the road talking about ghosts. So he got an old sheet or old something and put over him and hid in the ditch. It was just getting dark good. And by the time we came by there, he raised up out of that ditch with that sheet on him. And when he did, it like to scared the living life out of all of us. And we took off, all three of us. When we got to our house, we had horses. We had mules, animals, farm animals. And we had a gate there. And I went over the gate. Let's see. Clifton went under the gate. And I went over the gate. And Clyde, I forgot what he done. Anyway, we all got through there. And Clifton, I believe it was, run just as hard as he could